for those of you who know me well, Aaron Sorkin is my favorite writer for television and film. And if you guys don't think The West Wing is the best show on broadcast television, meet me out by the bike racks later. We'll fight. I'll win. It's fine. But today, I'm not thinking of The West Wing. I'm thinking of Aaron Sorkin's other show, The Newsroom. On that show, the people that work explainably in a newsroom, they created a broadcast network news show that didn't pander to its audience. It didn't reduce the issues to hashtags and headlines. It gave the electorate the information they needed and let them decide because it trusted people innately. And how did they create such a broadcast in the face of network and advertiser pressures? Well, they just decided to. That was the main theme of the newsroom. And I could come up here today and tell you that I was always destined to be a city councilor from the day I was born. But the truth is, it wasn't foretold in some ancient prophecy that the one with the powers to vanquish Mike Nichol would have powers he knew not, that only one could hold office while the other declared his candidacy. Nah, that didn't happen. Granted, earlier today, a strange woman in a pond distributed a sword to me, but that manifestation of destiny doesn't count because we all know that is not the basis for a system of government. Now, jokes aside, I'm up here to tell you why I'm running for city council, and the simple matter is, I decided to. And I think that our capacity to choose is important here. It's better to just decide to than to be destined to or always have your family pressures to do so. And I looked at what I knew, what I didn't know. I looked at pros, cons. I used the data available to me, and I made a choice. Now, I'm not very good at politics, to be honest. I've sought out campaign advice from a lot of people, and most of the time they tell me things like, Troy, you talk too much, just tell the voters what they want to hear, and don't say any of the other stuff. Or the other one, my favorite, was, you don't need to understand the policy completely, just float it out there and worry about the specifics later. And I tried it for a little bit. I tried schmoozing and politicking. And the truth was, I wasn't very good at it, I didn't like it, and I didn't want to do it. So I'm not going to. Right up until the election, and afterwards, as I sit on city council, knock on metal, you're going to find me broadcasting strong positions. I'm going to continue to do it. I won't equivocate on the things that matter to me. The speed in my neighborhood is too high. People who walk are not given the due thought by city planners. And in the 21st century, I think it's time we started demanding technological literacy from our leaders. Now, I'm going to alienate some voters that disagree with me along the way. And that's okay. When I get elected, I want to have the mandate to do what I said I'll do. I won't monsef away my promises, as it were. Electoral reform. I believe in action. I'm not going to lie and say that I don't like to talk. I like to talk. I can talk at length about a lot of things, but again, for those that know me, you'll know that I talk at most length about nothing in particular. But when I want something done, I get up and do it. I don't sit around and talk about it. The wise words of Shia LaBeouf, don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Please clap. Wanted that Jeb line in there. But when I determined my neighborhood wasn't safe to walk around, when I felt unsafe walking around, I didn't just sit around and complain. I went out and I hit every door and I talked to everyone in the neighborhood that would talk to me, and I found out that 72% of you agree with me. And that's not a number that can be ignored. That's not a number that City Council will ignore if I have anything to say about it. Now, what can you expect from me? That's a good question. Well, a lot of talk if you're unlucky enough to get caught in my crosshairs at an event without an escape plan, but you can expect a lot of action as well. So, I know that my role on council will be part of a whole. I can't promise what the other councils will do. I can't promise who they'll be or if they'll agree with me. What I can promise is what you'll see from me. So, if you'll permit me, I'd like to talk about 3 initiatives that I want to undertake. The first of which is transparency. As Dan mentioned, this is something that's hugely important to both of us. And transparency of the city administration, that's important. You need to know what your city is doing. But even more important is transparency of your councilor, because he's all your senses in City Hall. If he's not transparent with you, you're walking around blind. So when a councilor makes a decision, you need to know it's based off citizen feedback and good decision making, not the influence of special interests. So that's why I'm proud to announce that my campaign will not be accepting any union or corporate donations throughout its life. It's time to get union and corporate money out of politics. We've done it provincially, and it's time to do it municipally as well. I also believe that every piece of data in the city's possession belongs to all of us. When the city hides information from us through FOIP, as it happens a lot of time, thanks Notley, when we have this award-winning open data catalog, and we've committed as a city to opening up every piece of data by default, where is it? Most of our data available in the city is not in the open data catalog. It's hidden in a bureaucracy somewhere. And there are no public plans detailing how to make it available. As your city councillor, knock on metal, if I make it through my term without a single skeleton coming out of the closet and the public seeing it, making us look bad, then I haven't done my job. I will be asking the hard questions of every department in the city. For each piece of data you own, why isn't it public? What's the strategy to get it public? And why aren't you telling the public about the timelines? That needs to get done. You have a right to know what the city is doing. And if we're not uncomfortable in this process, then we're not growing. This leads me to my second point, which tends to get the most attention because Edmonton, photo radar. The system has lost the trust of the public. That is unarguable. Now, to be clear, I'm not up here campaigning on eliminating photo radar completely. I don't think we should do that. It's an important tool in our enforcement toolbox. But when you have prominent city columnists getting front page op-eds calling photo radar a cash cow, when a person receives a ticket, do you think they say, I better change my behavior? Or do you think they say, darn those greedy politicians? I believe it's the latter, and I think that's what we have to change. So the onus is on us. We need to prove that the photo radar program is only being used responsibly, and in doing so, we'll ensure that it is being used responsibly. Enough surprises in transition zones. We need to draft policy that says photo radar will be located 200 meters after a digital speed board. When a driver is told in the moment you are speeding and they choose not to slow down, they should get a ticket. That's how enforcement works. But when we're creating tricks and when we're using improper signage in the city, we've already been told we don't have enough signs saying 50 kilometers an hour on White Ave, and that confuses drivers. When we are doing those underhanded tactics, that erodes public trust in the system. And all enforcement data, it needs to be in the open data catalog. In order to earn the trust back of the population, any citizen needs to be able to fully audit all of the photo radar records. That's how we earn the public trust back. And that brings me to the last point, and it's a really important point to me. It's Vision Zero. Now, for those of you who don't know, Vision Zero is the Swedish approach to traffic safety that we've adopted in Edmonton. It says no loss of life in traffic is acceptable. And it purports that humans will make mistakes. That's unavoidable. But the road system should not fail those people. The road system should account for mistakes and make any mistake non-fatal. Now, we say we're a Vision Zero city in Edmonton, and I don't believe that. We need real infrastructure changes to say we're Vision Zero. For example, White Ave, that's not a place where it's appropriate for a pedestrian to die in a crosswalk. It's a pedestrian hub. That's where people walk. We need extended curbs on those pedestrian thoroughfares, and we need better lighting for people to walk, and we need them yesterday. Now, importantly about Vision Zero, this is an initiative where the words actually matter, and they matter a lot. We suggest that people need to wear reflective strips if they want to leave their home, lest they be smitten by the giant metal beasts that roam the earth. We say never jaywalk while people freeze on street corners so that others can cruise by in their heated metal cages without stopping. We say pedestrian and cyclist when we actually mean people. Our media releases say a pedestrian was struck by an SUV and died. No, a person walking died when a driver failed to yield in a crosswalk. The words matter. And only when we're ready to treat people moving with respect and dignity what they deserve, when we're ready to make the hard infrastructure changes to make everyone safe, when we're ready to stop paying lip service for political points, only then can we call ourselves a Vision Zero city. Now, our city is changing. We're the fastest growing city in Canada, and we show no signs of stopping. And with that growth comes both challenges and new opportunities. I'm ready to tackle the challenges, yes, But even more importantly, I'm looking to those new opportunities with a lustful longing. I'm waiting with bated breath to push Edmonton forward. Politics in the South, and even in our own province, has taken a negative turn, full of regressive cynicism, fear, and hatred. I'm looking to the horizon and I see opportunities abound. The next 4 years will be marked by a government whose actions show their openness and willingness to collaborate. It will be marked by policies shaped through data and rational decision-making. It will be marked by a government that says no loss of life in traffic is acceptable. Edmonton is on the cusp of something great, and I think with the right leadership we can get there. My name is Troy Pavlek, and I'm running to be your next City Councillor in Ward 11.